just see our commentary box on the far right-hand side of the picture. 80 laps scheduled, 2.369 mile circuit. This race will run 189.5 miles, 305 kilometres. A long wait, red light. Off they go. Good start from Mansell. Excellent start from Mansell off the pole. Looks a fairly clean one, but the first corner always dodgy. The Ayrton house all locked up. Castellet, that was going down the inside, but it's Mansell leading. Prost second. No, it's Mansell leading. Berger second. Senna, I think, third. Then a Benetton. Here we are with Thierry Boutsen. Looking backwards off one of the Lola Lamborghinis.
Well, fortunately we had a clean start into that first corner. It's always a trouble area, but everybody got through. There was not even the sign of fiberglass flying from the front wings, a very vulnerable part of the car. So thank goodness we've had a nice clean start.
Yes, in fact, Ivan Capelli nearly mucked it all up, went sliding down the inside with all his tyres locked up, but he managed to avoid everyone. There at the back of the field, or quite the back of the field, the two Brabhams running together, Modena and David Brabham. David Brabham off the back of the grid must have made an excellent start, and Gerhard Berger has catapulted himself into the lead. Berger peeling away, and Ayrton right in Nigel Mansell's gearbox. Mansell defending his part of it, pulling over to the right, preventing Senna getting through, but let's watch Senna on the straight because he's going to have a major attack on Nigel Mansell down the back straight. Yes, it's Berger who leads from Mansell, Senna, Nannini, Patrese, Prost, Boutsen, Piquet, Alesi, Gugelmin and Alio. That is the top 11.
And Mansell pulling over to the right-hand side of the Mistral straight. Senna to the left. Senna's just got his nose ahead and he's going to shut the door on Nigel Mansell round the long way, round the outside. And we've got McLaren's first and second. Gerhard Berger leading, Ayrton Senna second, Nigel Mansell third.
Yes, well, Honda engines have won this race for the past 4 years. Are they going to make it 5 in a row here at Paul Ricard? You're watching it live on Eurosport. There is Ayrton Senna, but it's Berger who leads. Gerhard Berger, what a sensational first lap. He did a 1:13.9 on that first flying lap. There's Senna, McLaren Hondas 1 and 2, and Nannini in fourth place, past the pit. There's Boutsen in seventh. This is lap number 3. Berger, Senna, Mansell, Nannini, Patrese, Prost, Boutsen, Piquet, Alesi.
Alain Prost languishing down in sixth place. A poor start from Prost, and he's got himself boxed in a way behind Patrese and Nannini, and he'll be wanting to get past them fairly quickly. But of course, remember back 2 weeks ago in Mexico when he was even further back in the grid at the start of the race than he is here, and he came through in the end to win the race.
Yes, but Prost is very canny, John. Maybe he's driving, I think you say he caresses the wheel, just saving the car because tyres are a vital factor. He's probably hoping that he's only going to make one stop.
I think really what he's looking to do is, in these early laps, when the car is full of fuel and it's heaviest in the race, he is not going to try and hurt his tyres. He's trying to conserve those tyres, but he's right on the gearbox of Patrese. Just coming into view, he's still behind him. So he's already beginning to make indications he wants to take that fifth place away from Patrese. But he will not want to drive over hard at this stage. Berger right now is charging as hard as he knows. Now it's giving him a 1.3 second lead over Senna, but he may pay for that a little bit later in the race.
Well, the timing monitor showing that the lead is 1.3 seconds between Gerhard and Ayrton. Mansell third, Nannini fourth. There's confirmation of it. 1.366 seconds. So an absolutely storming start to the French Grand Prix by Gerhard Berger. This race, 80 laps of this Paul Ricard circuit. The circuit shortened 5 years ago after the tragic Elio De Angelis accident. Before then, the circuit was actually a full 2 kilometers longer.
And Alessandro Nannini is really hanging on to Nigel Mansell's gearbox. And these 4 cars are just opening the smallest gap now between Nannini and Patrese. Prost in 6th place.
curve there. And Senna, I think, closing in. Yes, 0.9 of a second, the gap now. Nannini also looking very strong indeed. Down that long straight, up to 190, 195 miles an hour, and then that flat out right corner, John, one of the most testing corners in Grand Prix racing.
In this condition, the cars are just into the 190s, the low 190s. Of course, the extra weight of the fuel affects the acceleration down that long straight, but it's still pretty impressive because these cars are now on race tires. They don't have the grip that they had in qualifying, so with the extra weight, slightly less grip, it's an even more exciting adventure.
Yes, Berger, Senna, Mansell, Nannini, Patrese, Prost, that's the top six. Prost is playing a waiting game. Luton 7th, PK in 8th spot, Alain, Capelli, Bernard, Alio, Gugelmin, Suzuki 40th, Warwick 15th, Nakajima, Donnelly in 17th spot. Just mentioning there that Derek Warwick 15th, Donnelly 17th, they seem to have lost their way a little bit, John.
Yes, the other Lamborghini engine car, the Lola LaRousse of Bernard and Suzuki, have been consistently quicker all weekend, and I have to say the differences in the engines are negligible. It's all down to the chassis, but it's the differences between these two cars.
It's Eric Bernard in 11th place, third fastest in the morning warm-up, doesn't seem to be making that much progress.
No, the progress that he's made, he's going backwards right now. Of course, the morning warm-up can, in some cases, be slightly deceptive because not everybody runs brim full tanks. Some people run half tanks, and because that's the situation the car is going to be running in for the larger part of the race, so they tend not to fill the car up full, and that could have been the case with Eric Bernard when he was so quick, third quickest time this morning.
Yes, there's Nigel Mansell currently running in third spot. McLaren's across the line, and it's Nigel and Nannini. PK running down in 8th. Nannini's teammate Nelson PK, experienced man, won this race in the past. Ferrari, of course, had that new engine they tried at Silverstone in the test. British Grand Prix coming up 1 week's time. Already the circuit at Silverstone looking in complete readiness for a Grand Prix. I think they could run it this weekend. Hamish Brown, all the guys there have done an excellent job. Well, there's Nigel. The gap between Berger and Senna now just about a second. Then from Senna to Mansell, 0.9 of a second, and then Nannini, 0.7 a second to him. You see it all on the screen, running very close together, that group.
There's been a little bit of seesawing between Berger and Senna, and then Senna and Mansell and Nannini, and in fact, it appears that Mansell and Nannini are closing up to Senna, and Berger's beginning to open that gap up again. Now it's coming up to 1.3 seconds, so Berger's increasing that lead. He's just fractionally quicker than Senna. Mansell likewise, that's quicker than Senna, and that's the reason why we're seeing Ayrton Senna being wound in by Nigel Mansell and Alessandro Nannini.
Yeah, one of the planes landing at the airstrip just away from the circuit, saw it coming in.
Nannini is catching up on Mansell, but of course in this long corner he can't maintain that close proximity. The aerodynamic effect of running close to another car at that very high speed reduces the downforce in the front wings of Nannini's car, so he has to back off a little bit, and of course he loses that momentum.
Yeah, there's Sandro Nannini chasing hard after the Ferraris, right on Nigel Mansell's tail. This is lap number 8. Berger, Senna, Mansell, Nannini. A lot of cars still running very close together, nose to tail, the two arrows. There you see the pit boards going out, and we have a pit visitor. It looked like a Williams.
Yes, it did. I have a feeling that was Riccardo Patrese. We'll have to wait and see. The camera will pick up which car it was in.
Yeah, this is lap number 9. It seems that Riccardo Patrese is in trouble. Just looking out of our commentary box, but unfortunately there's various obstacles in the way, and there he is going into the pits now.
And that is not that's Thierry Boutsen.
Yes, Boutsen.
That is not a pit stop for tyres, that's a mechanical pit stop. They've been having problems with this Renault engine over the weekend. They've had a couple of blow-ups recently, so whatever the problem is for Boutsen, it's a terminal one, and an early shower for Thierry tonight.
Yes.
Manuel Pirro having an exciting trip. He went down the inside, probably trying to pass somebody, locked up the brakes. A very exciting little pirouette from Pirro.
Yes, I was going to get that one in, John. You beat me to it. Well, Manuel Pirro, he's well down the order. Currently shown in 26th spot. David Brabham running 23rd at the moment, and Modena in the other Brabham 21st. The gap between Berger and Senna is closed up again. It is seesawing around.
Yes,
0.8 of a second now. There you see them on the screen, almost nose to tail.
Well, Senna seems to have a little surge there, up to Berger, pulling away from Nigel Mansell and Nannini.
You say pulling away, but there's only about 0.6 of a second. Look, there's the first 4. This, the 10th lap. And all very close indeed. And I'm impressed with the way that Nannini is keeping up with 3 more senior men. Prost still running in 6th spot.
I think what's interesting about Nannini is he's not running the very latest development Ford HB engine. They had intended to bring some of the modifications here. They decided not to. And there are 2 modifications which they're hoping to bring into Silverstone for the Grand Prix there next week, which they believe will give the performance of that V8 engine a match to anything of Honda or Ferrari or Renault for that matter. And now look at Alain Prost trying to have a little sniff at Riccardo Patrese, but not close enough.
Yes, I believe
on the inside.
They call that the Phase 4 engine. A flurry of press releases from Ford this weekend about the Eddie Jordan situation, and Jordan will have Ford engines similar to the Benetton ones, but there you see just confirmation of the current positions. But a second press release came out, and John's got that story.
Yes, Benetton, I think, wanted to have the situation regarding the Ford engine clarified, and they made some observations about the press release regarding Jordan Grand Prix and the Ford engine, and whether those were ambiguous or not, I think, is left to the individual scribe who was recording it to make a judgment on. But certainly they did respond to that press release regarding Jordan Grand Prix and Ford HB engines.
Yes, it appears that Jordan will not get the Ford engine management system that comes with the motor. Presumably he'll have to go elsewhere for that. And I would have thought that that's a fairly major handicap. But these 4 still running close together. Senna right up the gearbox, the transverse gearbox of Gerhard Berger, his teammate. Both cars lapping in 1 minute 12. 1:12.1,
and those lap times have dropped, and there was oil on the track around the back. I think that's the oil from Thierry Boutsen's Renault engine. We saw part of the circuit they'd put down a sand kind of mixture to absorb the oil, so I think that's accounted for that sudden drop of about 2 seconds per lap from the leading cars.
Yes, Lacey is up to 8th place. He's in front of Capelli. Let's just go through the top 10. Berger, Senna, Mansell. 4th is Nannini. 5th Patrese. 6th is Alain Prost, 7th Nelson Piquet, 8th Jean Alesi, 9th Ivan Capelli, and in 10th place Gerhard Berger, and quickly after that it's Gugelmin, Suzuki, Alio, Warwick, Nakajima, Donnelly, Alboreto, Cathy, De Cesaris and Monada rounding out the top 20. There is there is Prost, and still worrying at the back of Riccardo Patrese's Williams Renault. This is the 13th lap. Just 1 retirement so far. That's Thierry Boutsen. Well, I wonder if Prost can find a way round. Overtaking here, John, not that easy, is it?
No, you really want to try and do your overtaking partway down this straight that we're on now. But of course it's very difficult. There's a slow corner onto the straight, and you don't really get any advantage over the car ahead of you by coming onto the straight that much quicker. And Alain Prost's Ferrari does not have the extra speed it needs to pass Patrese Renault engine Williams, and therefore he's going to have to seek a place elsewhere. But look, Prost now preparing an attack, but of course there's not an awful lot of room here to do anything about it.
There are very big runoff areas, and we've seen several cars during qualifying taking trips into that gravel.
Remember last year Alain Prost, he was in a race with Ayrton Senna, and after the very, very fast corner on the straight, there's a short straight before this long double right-hand corner. That was for Prost, made a very audacious move on Ayrton Senna, caught Senna totally unawares. He may well be preparing and thinking about a similar move with Ricciardo, but he's got to be confident. Patrese is going to know what he's doing and not pull across him, otherwise there could be a major collision.
Yes, Williams running during qualifying with the new single-shock front suspension unit, but they've discarded that. They've gone back to the twin shock absorber system for the race.
Let's see if we can watch Prost here now in his preparation to try and pass Patrese. I think he's going to try and do it here, not in this corner, but coming in this next section. Look at him having a sniff down the inside, but he got his nose well and truly slapped there. Ricciardo said, "No way, my son, you're not going to pass me here. I watched the video replay of the Grand Prix last year. I saw what you did to Ayrton Senna."
In fact, do the drivers do much analysis like that, John?
I beg your pardon. You know, drivers are not, well, they are reasonably intelligent guys. Some of them do watch the Grand Prix. I think certainly a lot of the teams, they were recording Eurovision, when they go back, they watch the Grand Prix, and they can learn things, not so much about the drivers, but maybe about their car and its relative performance with the other competitors.
Well, we know that they record our show in Williams, where I'm sure the conference centre is full up. Hello to all you Williams guys. Keep hard at it. And Ricciardo there is doing his best for you. Well, still the situation. Gerhard Berger, 0.8 of a second ahead of Ayrton Senna. Nigel Mansell in third spot. Nannini fourth. And it's Patrese and Prost still. Our battle continues. Oh, how'd it go then?
Yes, he's doing the same thing, and he's not really quite far enough up to Patrese when he makes his move. Patrese is able to shut the door on Prost and prevent him getting through.
He has got a stunning record here at Ricard, Alain Prost. His first race here in 1980, where he didn't do particularly well, but since then, every year except 1984, he's been on the podium. Of course, he won it in 88 and 89. He won the race way back in 1981, his first ever victory, and he also won here in 1983. That was, of course, for Renault. So, tremendous record. He'll be very disappointed if he's not in the top three. This, lap number 16. There you see the order. Our caption just a little out of date there. It is lap number 16. They're working at the moment those positions after 15 laps. And Prost still worrying away at Riccardo Patrese, trying to prompt Patrese into a mistake.
And he's a little bit closer to Patrese this time again on the straight. He needs to stay as close as he can through this corner to get the chance to shoot down the inside. But having now tried the same ploy in the last two laps, he may have to rethink his strategy. Patrese is prepared for it. He's not going to leave the door open, or certainly not wide enough for Prost to slide inside him. So he's now maybe going to have to reconsider what other parts of the circuit is possible to get past Riccardo Patrese.
Yes, this is lap number 16. See some of the mountains in the background here in the Provence. Look at that gaggle then. That's the battle for 5th through about 9th place. Berger, Senna, Mansell, Nannini, Patrese, Prost, Piquet, Alesi, Capelli and Bernard. Bernard moved up one spot. Gugelmin 11th, Suzuki 12th. In fact, John, just noticed there that...
Well, of course, we've just lost the best shot. We're going to see Alain Prost at his closest to Riccardo Patrese. Now we don't know whether he's got past him or not. No, he hasn't. But certainly that was the closest we saw Alain Prost going through the Scene corner to Riccardo Patrese. We went then, of course, in car to one of the Lamborghinis and lost the shot.
We saw earlier on that Emanuele Pirro spin confirmation that he has stopped out on the racetrack. Presumably he stalled the engine, and now new rules from FISA. Drivers are not allowed to be push started, and as they don't have starter motors, it means he's out of the race.
Yes, indeed, and it's one of those very controversial regulations, and particularly from the qualifying and practicing point of view, that push start should be permitted. In the race, it's a different issue. It is classified as outside assistance, and therefore is an immediate disqualification. So if you spin your car, stall the engine, you have to get out of the car, park it somewhere safely, and walk home to your pit.
Yes. The gap now, 0.9 of a second, is just fluctuating that fifth of a second backwards and forwards. Berger still leading. This is the 18th lap they're on now. Still that battle continues. Prost trying to find a way around Patrese. Nelson Piquet just under a second behind the pair of them.
There's no doubt, Andrew, that Riccardo Patrese is holding up Alain Prost at this stage. The two cars have got exactly the same top speed, and Alain Prost is not able to find an advantage anywhere. Oh, Mansell starting very, very wide, and Nannini, I think, has taken the place, but Mansell fought his way back, pushed Nannini well over to the right, but Nigel went in probably slightly too quick, got on the marbles, the rubber marbles, slid wide, but managed to hang on to his third place. But of course Nannini may well take advantage of that and try, and Mansell now swinging over to the right to block Nannini going left, these two battling for third place, but Mansell now really is able to consolidate his position, and the threat from, look at that, almost full lock as he went into the corner and well off the line. I mean, it's a good 10-15 feet wide of the apex of that corner, and actually the recovery was exceptional.
Yeah, I think we ought to put Nigel in a rally car one of these days. He loves driving sideways. Berger, Senna, Mansell. There's Nigel. No one really breaking into the 1-9 yet. I think one quick word of explanation, John. We've got a very open commentary box here, and just next to us is a Frenchman who is actually screaming his heart out, so you might even hear him on our mics, because he is making the most frightful row. Well, it is an exciting race, but this guy's going to have a heart attack before he's finished. Meanwhile, back at the race, Berger, Senna, Mansell, Nannini, Patrese, Prost, that's the top six. This is the 20th lap. They flash under that camera which is mounted on the bridge.
And Ivan Capelli bumping across the curve of the inside, having a little collision with John Alesi. Again, Prost right on the gearbox of Patrese, but Patrese not having any of it.
Yeah, that's the battle for 8th spot. Yeah, I noticed that Jean Alesi's father has actually got a suite here at Ricard. Still Prost tries. Yes, we're walking down past the suites, John, and saw one carrosserie. Oh, there's a pit stop.
That's Larini having a pit stop for tyres, obviously. Another, looks like a Benetton rushing in. Something pouring out of the back of the car. We couldn't quite see what it was. Piquet.
Piquet's in, there's the order. Berger, Senna, Mansell, Nannini, Patrese, Prost after quarter distance.
A good stop for Piquet, 8.12 seconds. Rejoining the race. This has a very quick entry and exit to the pits at Paul Ricard. So that trip into the pits for Piquet probably costing him somewhere in the region of 30 seconds, maybe just under it.
As John Barnard's really forcing his personality and his thrust and his dynamism into that team now, John.
Yes, it's going to get very good direction from John Barnard. A very strong character, a man who knows precisely what he wants in Formula One, both in terms of engineering and from the engine side itself.
Well, the race just after quarter distance now. Berger, who leads from Senna by 0.6 of a second, will be back in just a couple of short moments.
Loro, oltretutto abbiamo lì con loro abbiamo Nicola Larini, ragazzo italiano simpaticissimo e che è sempre stato molto veloce, che quest'anno sta soffrendo veramente, quindi mi auguro che riescano a tornare ai vertici almeno con la macchina di Larini.
Intanto al 20° passaggio Berger succedeva Senna di 6 decimi, Mansell era quasi un secondo da Senna, Nannini a 7 decimi da Mansell, Patrese a 2 secondi da Nannini, con Prost sempre a meno di 4 decimi. Al 21° passaggio Berger sempre al comando, Senna a 6 decimi, Mansell a 6 decimi da Senna, Nannini a 7 decimi da Mansell, Patrese a 2 secondi 252 da Nannini, con Prost a 3 decimi e mezzo. Quindi Alesi a 3 secondi e 2 con Capelli a 4 decimi, poi c'è un intervallo di 9 secondi con Gugelmin nono, seguito a 3 secondi da Bernard, a seguire poi ancora con distacchi abbastanza consistenti di qualche secondo, su tutti gli uomini di Cesarit e quindi Traban, Martini, Gallanti e Larini. Ritirati come sappiamo Pirro e Boutsen, giro più veloce ancora il quarto di Senna in 1:10.144. Adesso il giro veloce è di Capelli in 1:10.
You're back at Ricard and the first four have closed right up. The battle between those two there, that continues, but at the front Berger and Senna now separated by just half a second. Mansell has closed up on the back of Senna and Nannini has gone with Mansell. So this is lap 23. What a struggle it is. PK we saw come into the pits. He's now running in 14th place. We'll go through the order for you. Berger, Senna, Mansell, Nannini, Patrese, Prost, Alesi, Capelli, Gugelmin, Bernard, Suzuki, Alio, Warwick, PK, Nakajima, Donnelly, Alboreto, Caffey, Modena to Cesarit. That's the top 20. We've only had 2 retirements so far. Thierry Boutsen with that mechanical problem, he retired in the pits. Emanuele Pirro spun off and stalled.
And as you said, I think Jean Alesi has just dived into the pits, certainly for a tyre change, but also there may be some damage to the car. That little collision he had with Ivan Capelli. Cleaning the visor, getting all the oil smear off it. Bluish change, 10.3. Engine, almost lost the engine on the exit to the pit. Not the best pit stop for Jean Alesi.
Fastest lap of the race so far to Nelson PK, now on fresh tyres. Nelson dipped down into the 109.796. PK, after his pit stop, running in 13th place, as we see Martin Donnelly make a pit stop. Donnelly running in 17th spot. Good stop from the Camel Lotus team. A lot of cement dust in that pit road, John. You saw it thrown up there. I think that's when we saw PK coming, that's what it was.
Yes, I think that's the dust that the legacy of Boutsen blew up. That engine must carry an awful lot of oil, because I think that's what we've seen, the dust which was put down on the oil from Boutsen's engine.
Still that scrap for 5th place continues. Here are the 2 leading McLaren Hondas. And Alex Caffey is off, and I suggest out.
I think Alain Prost must be getting a little bit frustrated now, because he's been behind Patrese for 23 laps on the 24th lap, and now really having to think very hard indeed about where is he going to find a way past Patrese. These 2 cars are losing contact with the front 4. Prost has been very patient indeed. His patience now wearing thin. You can see Prost's car doesn't need as much of the track as Patrese. An indication that Patrase's car has not got the grip in the corner that Prost has, but of course with Prost losing his momentum behind Patrese, he can take advantage of the extra grip and speed he has.
But what about that quartet at the front? Very close indeed. About 26, the gap 0.6 of a second. That man there, Capelli, in 7th place. He's hanging on exceptionally well.
He's been catching up and he's right now behind Alain Prost. He's adding a further dimension to this little battle that Patrese and Prost have been having. And I'm sure Alain Prost will really not wish to have somebody pursuing him closely. It means that he's going to have to keep one eye on his mirror at some part of his lap and be aware that there is a competitive car behind him.
Well, that's definitely something to cheer up for Ian Phillips, the team director, still on the sick list. We're hoping to see him at Silverstone. He's had a very nasty bout of meningitis, so get well soon, Ian. We do hope we can see you at Silverstone, even if it's just to watch. Ian Phillips is the man who really worked so hard with Mr. Akagi to set up this team. Leighton House now completely separate from March Engineering. Now we go in car. Give us some gears if they stay with us. Peter John.
Well, it's just so quick, the gear change. Second, third, fourth comes so quickly, it's almost as fast as your hand. But look at this. Ooh, very tight indeed. Nannini and Mansell yet again. Mansell having to take the wrong line into the corner, pull right over to the right to prevent Nannini from getting by. Of course, that made rather a messy situation for those two cars. But look, Mansell protecting his corner, pulling right over to the right, narrowing the angle he was using in the corner, having to slow down very much indeed. Nannini trying to go around him on the outside, but not enough for him. Another car really that is capable of going quicker than we're seeing it doing. Nannini being held up by Nigel Mansell.
Unusual camera position from the back of that Lola. Still a very close run thing. Here at the Ricard circuit, Le Castellet, the other name.
Alain Prost into the pit.
Prost into the pit, he was running in 6th spot.
I think this may be the opportunity he's looking for to finally pass Patrese, because Patrese also, I'm sure, will be pitward bound shortly. Alain Prost peeling off one of the rip-offs on his visor. A good stop, and that well may elevate Alain Prost up to 5th spot, although he would be at this stage, but if Patrese make his pit stop, it's going to have to be quicker than Prost, and that was a very quick stop. And Senna now taking the lead from Gerhard Berger at the end of the pit straight.
Yes, a new leader here at Paul Ricard. Senna, you saw it live on Eurosport. Ayrton, Senna leads. And Berger almost losing 2nd place to Nigel Mansell.
I think I would imagine Berger's also going to be a visitor into the pit, because suddenly his car seems to be slowing down. Mansell's all over him. Let's have a look at if Berger does decide to take his tire pit stop at the end of this lap. Certainly he dropped off on that last lap. His lap time must have been 2 seconds at least slower. Yes, he's pulling over to the right. And Nannini also. We've got 2 visitors to the pit. Gerhard Berger in the McLaren. Nannini, look at the speed of these two. And that's very, very dusty. Nannini locking up a right front, almost overshooting his pit.
Yes, there's the McLaren team working away on Berger's car. Not a particularly quick one.
Light bother with the left rear. Got it on. Slow stop. Almost 13 seconds.
Senna perhaps the next lap, John.
Could be. But having got his nose in the lead, he may try to consolidate that lead. But of course he will know the situation better than anybody else. And after the strategy, the mistaken strategy that McLaren ran to in Mexico, when they admitted after the race they should have called Ayrton Senna in for a tire change. I'm sure they're going to be very much on top of that situation.
There's David Brabham.
He's another tire changer.
David Brabham running in 20th place now.
Senna continuing. Mansell second.
1.9 seconds between the pair of them, but everything's changing now as different cars come into the pit.
Petresi in third and Ivan Capelli in fourth. A very long time since the Leighton House ran as high as that. Remember, the Leighton House runs with the V8 Judd engine, an engine not supposed to be as powerful as Ferrari, Honda or Williams with the Renault engine.
Or Lamborghini for that matter. Prost just turned the fastest lap of the race to date, 109.340.
In 88 we saw Ivan Capelli make some incredible passing manoeuvres, and in fact one of those was this man Petresi in Spa in 88, an audacious move, and a result like this or a race like this could do marvels for the morale in the Leighton House team. They've had a real bashing in the last, well, almost the last year in fact. This kind of performance here, Ayrton, and now coming into the pits also very fast. You must be very careful on the entry into the pits. You don't overshoot, block a break up, and have to then make another lap. This looks like a better stop than that of Berger's. Fronts are on, left rear going on.
Problem with the left rear.
Oh yes.
Seconds ticking away. Now they've got the aircon on. Now they've done it.
That's the first stop, 16 seconds, Senna.
8 hard-earned seconds there, lost John.
And he just gets out in front of Gerhard Berger, his teammate, behind Nelson Piquet, who's running an 8th spot, so it's now Senna 9 and Berger 10.
Of course, we have a new leader, this man, Nigel Mansell, who has yet to make his pit stop. Mansell leads. Senna in second place, Petresi third.
They got Riccardo Petresi second, Capelli in third spot, and of course Petresi and Capelli have not been into the pits, as has Nigel Mansell. So the front three cars have yet not made their entire pit stops.
No, just watching the monitor to see where Senna slips back.
Mansell into the pits now. Petresi leads, Capelli in second space.
Capelli could lead this race, Johnny. I think just for the whole psychology of the team, they might let him stay out that bit longer.
Yes, indeed. I think it would be a very wise thing to do. They probably are not going to win the race from the front, but to get the nose in the lead would do marvels for the Leighton House team. Mr. Akagi, the owner of the team, I'm sure will be over the moon to see one of his cars leading a French Grand Prix or any Grand Prix right now.
Well, I wonder what Adrian Newey, the man who designed that Leighton House car, who's just left the team, must be thinking now. I got the feeling he's been rather shoved out. We haven't seen anything official to that effect, and we haven't spoken to him, but that's the feeling we got as Riccardo Petresi leads. That caption a little out of date. Everything happening with these pit stops. Capelli in second place. Gugelmin going well also.
Yes, indeed. Gugelmin now running third spot. But I'm sure Capelli will be on a high right now. He's right behind Petresi. He's raced against Petresi in the past. He's been able to pass him, and Riccardo is not recognised as being one of the easiest men on the race to get past. But look at Capelli right on the gearbox. I think he's going to have a little shoot down the inside into this very, very... Yes, look at that. He did his preparation well. Capelli, when he's in a high, is courageous. That was a great little move. Nice to see it. Alain Prost may well learn something from that.
Well, what a turn up for the book. Van Capelli leads.
And he's pulling away. He's pulled almost a second already on Riccardo Petresi. Just Capelli, Petresi, Gugelmin. Those are the first three. And who in the pits, who amongst the experts would have ever predicted two Leighton Houses in the top three?
Meanwhile, of course, Senna and Berger starting to work their way up the field again. Prost also going quickly. He's down into the 1/8 now. Prost just a turn to 1:08.683. There's confirmation of that. On to the 34th lap. It's Capelli, Petresi, Gugelmin and Prost. Prost up to 4th place. Nannini in 5th spot.
And Riccardo Petresi really must go into the pits now. He's lapping over 3 seconds a lap slower than Capelli. So his set of Goodyear tyres are well and truly short, and every lap he stays out here is time lost that he will find very, very difficult indeed to recover after he makes a stop for a fresh set of his Goodyear tyres.
Capelli also. Capelli's still lapping in the 110s. Presumably he'll be in the pits within the next couple of laps.
Leighton House have not had too much practice, Andrew, with pit stops, particularly in a pressure situation, that of leading a race. So how their pit stop goes will be very dependent on how Capelli can compete in the Part 2 of his 1990 French Grand Prix. But let's hope they do a good stop for him, because wouldn't it be wonderful to see a dark horse, a totally unexpected package of driver and car at the front of Paul Ricard.
There's the man from Milan, still leading. Fortuitously, we had an interview with Capelli in our qualifying show, and we asked him how he pumped himself up after all the disappointment. He said he did it by watching the football with Italy getting into the semi-finals. That must have helped a little bit, perhaps. But we see Eric Bernard, and in fact Suzuki running alongside him, those two running together. That's 11th and 12th spot.
But really the man we've got to keep an eye on is not this one, Riccardo Patrese, but Alain Prost, currently in third spot, but catching up hand over fist to Richard Gugelmin. He's just on a lap, the fastest lap of the race so far, 1 minute 8.445. He is the quickest man on the racetrack, and he's got all his main challengers, Nannini, Mansell, PK, Senna, Berger, they're all behind him.
Yes, so the two Leighton houses have yet to go into the pits. And Senna now running in front of Gerhard Berger. Despite that somewhat fumbled pit stop from McLaren, well, fumbled, it looked like a mechanical problem with a wheel nut.
Both McLarens had really very poor pit stops, and that's the price they're having to pay now. Those 3, 4, 5 extra seconds spent fumbling with those rear wheels has demoted them down into the 4th, 5th and 6th spots.
Well, absolute sensation here at Paul Ricard. The Leighton House cars are running in first and second spots. Capelli and Gugelmin. Then it's Prost, Nannini, Mansell, Senna, PK. We'll recap it again. Capelli and Gugelmin. You are not hearing it wrong. The Leighton House cars are first and second. Prost is third, Nannini fourth, Mansell fifth, Senna is in sixth spot. Then it's Nelson, PK seventh, Gerhard Berger eighth, Riccardo Patrese ninth, and Philip Alliot is in 10th place. Then it's the two Lola Lamborghinis of Bernard and Suzuki. Capelli leads by 7.5 seconds from Mauricio Gugelmin.
And Alain Prost, who's running third now, has dropped down to the same lap time as Gugelmin and Capelli. So the benefit of his fresh tyres seems to have ebbed away. Certainly at this point in the race, he's not making the progress he did 2 laps ago towards the front two Leighton houses. He's now lapping at their pace.
How has Capelli managed to conserve his tyres? Because he hasn't been injured. He's still lapping at the 110 mark and driving a superb race out there. How can he manage to keep going on that first set of tyres?
Well, whatever they've done to these two cars to make them work, obviously is helping the tyres greatly, because it seems they can run on tyres that have done 36 laps, and they're lapping as quickly as cars that have got fresh tyres on. So there's something about the setup of the Leighton House here at Paul Ricard that is magical. I believe they will have to make a pit stop finally for tyres, but at this point in the race, just under the half distance, they're capable of running quick enough to lead the race. And Alain Prost is not able right now to take advantage of those fresh tyres in his Ferrari.
Yes, they might have Japanese ownership, but an all-British car. The Judd engine from Rugby. John Judd Engine Development, the company which he started, I believe, with Jack Brabham. And what a superb job he's done.
And again, it's a long time since the Judd engine has featured so strongly in a race. Really, it was last year with Martin Brundle in the Brabham team when they had some tremendous results. But this is the narrow-angle V8 Judd engine. And now we're getting to see the true potential that engine has always had. And Prost now looking for a way to get past Gugelmin. Gugelmin being hampered by De Cesaris in the Dallara, giving Prost the opportunity to catch up, look for that little gap. Andrea oblivious to what's going on behind him. He can't believe that Leitenhuis is leading a race. That's probably why this time he's saying, oh well, Leitenhuis is probably a lap behind already. Prost leading the race. I'll get out of the way for Prost. Gugelmin, but he can work his own way around.
There's Alain Prost trying to split the two Leitenhuis machines. It's difficult to say Leitenhouses, so that's what we have to try and say.
Yes.
Prost trying down the inside.
Andrea saw both of them coming, let Gugelmin through, and then realised Prost was on his tail. Stayed well to the right. Prost got through cleanly. Andrea did a good job that time, assisting these second and third place cars.
Yes, he's running in 18th spot, De Cesaris, running behind Michele Alboreto and just in front of Stefano Modena. The Brabham team all at sea here. They just haven't been able to work out a good setup. Oh, Prost trying to go wide, and there's no way around the outside there. And Gugelmin doing a sterling job holding him off. Just wonder, John, if you can get a look at the tyres on the Leitenhuis. They look in reasonable condition to me, but you're the expert.
Yes, they look reasonable, but obviously his tyres are suffering from 38 laps around the Paul Ricard circuit. Prost's tyres being much fresher, and eventually that will tell. But it's so far not Peter Prost's advantage. And look at the acceleration on the straight. No advantage whatsoever to Alain Prost with his V12 Ferrari engine. The V8 Judd of Gugelmin seemingly able to keep him at bay.
Yeah, Prost is probably used to chasing Nigel Mansell or Gerhard Berger or Ayrton Senna, and he knows their driving style. He probably doesn't know quite what the strengths and weaknesses of Mauricio Gugelmin are.
I'd imagine Gugelmin's finding that out also. He's not really quite sure of his car. I mean, this is a gift to him. Now Prost closing up. I'm sure he's going to have another little look again. Well, he wasn't close enough that time.
This just shows you, John, how important in the overall equation is the motor car and getting it working correctly. Because a race ago, these cars didn't even qualify. And now they're lying first and second. An amazing turnaround in fortune. Totally amazing. But that's what makes motor racing so thrilling, so exciting.
Yes, it is. And I mean, I've never seen anything like this. It's a very, very unusual situation. The two cars can be so uncompetitive in one Grand Prix and then be first and second in the following one. And Alain Prost doesn't really appear to have an answer to Maurizio Gugelmin. Gugelmin driving a race, clean, not making any mistakes, aware he hasn't got quite the grip he would like, but not leaving any door open for Prost to slide down into.
We're just halfway through the French Grand Prix. If you've just tuned in, you are not seeing things. The Leitenhuis cars are lying first and second. Capelli has led the race for the past 7 laps. Most of the front runners have made stops at the pits for tyres. The Leitenhuis is conserving their tyres and going very well. They have not been into the pits. And it is Capelli who leads. Totally amazing here at Paul Ricard. Gugelmin holding off Alain Prost. Cars which couldn't even qualify out there at the front. Capelli, Gugelmin, Prost, Nannini, Mansell and Senna. That is the top 6. Then it's Piquet, Berger, Patrese, Bernard, Suzuki, Nakajima, Warwick in 13th. Alio, Donnelly is 15th.
And Martini has a problem with his Minardi's pulled over to the left. His race is over for the day. But here's the battle for second place. Gugelmin in the Leitenhuis, Alain Prost in the Ferrari.
Okay, well there, Pierluigi Martini climbs out of his car. And let's just have a look at the retirements. Jerry Boutsen, we saw him retire in the pits, mechanical problem. Emanuele Pirro spun off and stalled. Alex Caffey spun off, and we just seen Martini stop there. So this battle continues. That's the battle for second place. Still, it's Leitenhuis cars lying first and second. Very exciting here at the French Grand Prix. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a couple of moments.
Riuscirà a cogliere il momento favorevole, mentre intanto Cappi abbandona per cedimento della sospensione. Un attimo di esitazione da parte di Alboreto sul passaggio a Prost, che poi riuscito a scavalcare anche lui, come già aveva fatto Gugelmin, il pilota italiano, che adesso è raggiunto e superato da Nannini. Primissimo piano della vettura del Bernaro, si tratta di Suzuki, suo compagno di squadra. I giapponesi viaggiano di conserva, Suzuki 11°, Nakajima è 12°, separati da meno di 4 decimi. Davanti a Patrese in questo momento abbiamo Berger che lo precede di un secondo. 43esimo passaggio intanto per Capelli, 8 secondi e 2. Capelli sta guadagnando sui compagni di squadra, il quale tiene.
You're back, and the Leighton Houses are still in first and second place. Another retirement piece of news. Jean Lacey has stopped 7 laps ago. We don't know why, but he appears to be out of the race. There we ride with Eric Bernard in the number 28 Lola Lamborghini. Bernard, this race proving to be something of a disappointment for him. He's running in 11th place, chasing after his teammate Aguri Suzuki.
In fact, that's just passed. Looks like Modena in the Brabham.
Yeah, lapping him in fact. Capelli leads by 8 seconds from Mauricio Gugelmin. And it's Prost, Nannini. Prost still trying to find a way around Gugelmin.
Suzuki trying to find a way past Yannick Dalmas in the AGS, but not courageous enough to stick his nose in, going to that very fast Scene corner. Here we are, Ivan Capelli all on his own. 8.2 seconds of a lead, and teammate Maurizio Gugelmin, who's ahead of Prost, and Nannini losing on Prost.
Yes, Nannini has just turned to 108.8. There's confirmation of the positions. Capelli, Gugelmin, Prost, Nannini, Mansell and Senna. Capelli, the football fan, leads the race. Maybe he's just rushing to see the World Cup final, John.
Well, I know 2 people who are doing that. Bernie Ecclestone and team manager of Brabham, Herbie Flash, are probably at this moment taxiing down the runway at the Paul Ricard Airport to fly to Rome to see the final, Germany versus Argentina.
Not sure if that's getting your priorities right or not.
Well, I don't know about Brabham, but certainly Bernie feels that's the right priority today.
Capelli still turning very quick laps to 108.6 from Capelli. He's 8.6 seconds in fact now. That cap's a little out of date. 8.6 seconds ahead of his teammate Mauricio Gugelmin. And still these Leighton House machines are in first and second spot. The Judd-powered machines, all British cars. Capelli of Italy, Gugelmin from Brazil. Gugelmin, the man who used to roommate with Ayrton Senna. And he's holding off Alain Prost.
Really, Alain Prost doesn't seem to have an answer to Mauricio Gugelmin. As he had no answer to Riccardo Patrese earlier in the race. The speed of the Leighton House on the straight is sufficiently great to prevent Prost getting up close to him. And that favourite spot, that double right-hand corner at the end of the very long straight, we saw him pass Ayrton Senna so decisively last year. He's not able to do that to Mauricio Gugelmin in the Leighton House.
Yeah, there's Gugelmin, 27 years old, from Curitiba in Brazil. In fact, they've got a racetrack in Curitiba. now lives in Egham in Surrey, married to Stella, former British Formula Ford 1600 champion, Formula Ford 2000 champion as well in Britain. Most of his racing, in fact, in Britain in the junior formula. And Prost challenging, but he can't do it into that flat-out senior corner. Capelli, Gugelmin, Prost, that's the order. You could have got 100 to 1 on Capelli, I think, John.
I would say 100 to 1 would be terrible odds. I would have thought about 1,000,000 to 1, let alone 100 to 1. I mean, this is a complete and total unpredictable situation. Although the cars did show very, very improved form in qualifying and practice, no one I know predicted we would see two Leighton houses leading the field. And at this stage in the race, we're well into the second half of the race. We're on the 48th lap.
Yeah, looking for the leader, Van Capelli. Still picking up that second place battle. Nakajima at the back of that group, running in 15th place. Van Capelli, double Italian Formula 3 champion in 1983 and 84. Won the Monaco Formula 3 race in 84 in a Martini. He won the European Formula 3 champion that same year. And of course, he was the Formula 3000 champion in 1986 in a March. So he's got an exceptional record in the junior formula. Well, that's the battle for second place.
You're talking about the form of Capelli. Really, we did see some superb form in 88 when Leighton House really began building their own cars, transferring from being a March to a Leighton House. And one of the things that I remarked about Capelli's performances then were his ability to overtake. And we saw him, and look at this, Nannini now trying to get onto the back of Prost Ferrari. Prost being so preoccupied with Gugelmin ahead of him, he's maybe gone to sleep a little bit, and Nannini now closer than he's ever been. Nannini could be the danger man. Alain Prost a bit wide. He actually missed the apex that corner again by a substantial amount. Unusual for a man of Prost's quality and ability to miss an apex as much as that.
Yes, just to recap on some of the retirements. Boutsen was the first man out with mechanical problems. Pirro out, Caffey has gone, Joe Lacey is out, and Martini has stopped. Tracy running down in 9th place. Quite a lot of these people that changed onto fresh tyres really don't seem to have speeded up at all. I mean, look at Patrese. Tracy running right at the front before the tyre stop. Now running down in 9th place. Senna still running in the 6th spot. And these Leighton houses still running on the original set of tyres.
To some extent one could put that down to the circuit conditions. And basically the advantage you should have with a new tyre is that you can go faster. That's being contradicted by Capelli and Gugelmin, because they're running at the same speed as those people who made their pit stops. The only thing I would say is that if Alain Prost could find a way past Gugelmin, as we see here, I believe he could go quicker and he potentially could catch up to Capelli, but Gugelmin is doing an absolutely superb job. He's maintaining his second place.
The gap between the two Leighton House machines, 8.7 seconds. Leighton House own the team. Sponsorship from Waterglass and BP also. There you see Gugelmin heading that group. This is lap 50 of the 80. What a turn up for the books here at the Castellet, the Paul Ricard circuit. Leighton House has got it all together, and Capelli still leads. It's been over 10 laps now that he's led this race. This is no flash in the pan, And we could see this form repeated at Silverstone, John, because that's another very smooth circuit.
Yes,
it appears these cars don't like the bumpy tracks, but on the smooth circuit, well, they've certainly found the formula for success.
If they can go to Silverstone with this car, they are going to be extremely competitive throughout the weekend and in the race. And that's a circuit really where I think the car, if it was designed for a racetrack, it was designed for Silverstone. Those long, fast corners of Silverstone are just made for this kind of high downforce car.
Yes, high downforce car, but I do ponder how much horsepower it's got. How much horsepower has John Judd managed to extract from that engine? We do understand that it revs at over 12,000 RPM.
I think the horsepower figure is very closely guarded secret, but you know, there's always somebody who will say, well, it's got around about 640, maybe 645 horsepower. And that in a nice, compact, small car. And Alain Prost right on his gearbox, and Prost, oh my goodness. Prost had to lift his foot almost up to touch his chin to get out of it so quickly. That was a major moment of being Prost's best chance at having a shot at second spot. And Capelli showed no mercy. Alain Prost, I'm in second spot. If you want it, you've got to be more decisive, and you're going to make your pass earlier on the straight.
He's talking about 650 horsepower, and that, of course, is about 10 times the horsepower of a normal family saloon in a machine that weighs about a third of a family saloon as Derek Warwick comes into the pit. Warwick currently in 12th spot.
I can't imagine you tires are going to make an awful lot of difference to Derek's race. Raising his visor. He's looking fairly leisurely around him.
Capelli leads from Gugelmin, Prost, Nannini, Mansell, Senna and Piquet. This is lap 53, and the Leighton houses still lead. What a stunning motor race here at the French Grand Prix. It's Capelli, Gugelmin, Prost, Nannini, Mansell, Senna, Piquet, Berger. We'll be back in just a moment.
It was 8.7 seconds for a while, and now Gugelmin and Prost and Nannini, virtually together, are coming up to that.
Ha superato un cliente pericoloso, Aglio, che è un pilota molto veloce, però a volte ha qualche incidente di troppo. Ho visto anche Gugelmin e Prost che hanno avuto qualche piccolo problemino nel superare la Brabham di Modena.
Mentre intanto vediamo in replay il sorpasso di Mansell di Prost nei confronti di Gugelmin. Leggevamo anche sul teleschermo che l'abbandono di Martini pare imputabile a ragioni elettriche, dice il comunicato.
Prost ha fintato continuamente attacchi in una zona dove poi proprio non l'ha attaccato e l'ha attaccato all'attaccata in fondo ai box. Ecco, io volevo così un attimino sondare la situazione in casa Ayrton, in casa March con Vergani, che è poi il manager di Capelli.
Back at Paul Ricard, where there has been a change because that man Alain Prost is now in second spot. While you were away, he managed to sneak down the inside of Mauricio Gugelmin, and we'll be seeing that in replay in just a moment. So here it is, John, just describe what happened.
Yes, Prost got the run onto the pit straight and had the acceleration. He went for it down the inside, took second place from Gugelmin. Now we got Capelli leading from Prost, 5 seconds ahead of Alain Prost. But Prost, I anticipate now, will start to make fairly rapid inroads into Capelli's lead. And Alessandro Nannini now pushing Gugelmin very hard for third spot.
Yes, just to recap, Capelli leads from Prost and Gugelmin. If you have just come in from the garden or wherever. You are not hearing things. Ivan Capelli has led this race for the past 20 laps almost. Gugelmin has been in second place. A sensational turnaround by the Leighton House team from Bicester in Oxfordshire. From non-qualifiers to race leaders. Can Capelli hang on? Prost is charging after him. Already the gap has come down to 4 seconds. And I think, John, we both now fancy Prost's chances.
Yes, Prost is lapping a second lap faster. The advantage he has of having a pit stop 4 tyres, we're now seeing that advantage. He's clear of Gugelmin. He's basically got a clear track ahead of him. The car ahead of him is being lapped. He can now drive at his own pace, and he will be taking up to, and if not more, a second out of Capelli's lead. But that Ligier not being helpful. Philippe Alliot finally realising that the current world champion was on his tail. He pulled well over to the left. Prost got through. That held him up maybe half a second. But that'll not make much difference over the next 4 to 5 laps. We're going to see Prost eat right into Capelli's lead.
Capelli first, Prost second, Gugelmin third, Nannini fourth, Mansell in 5th spot, Senna 6th, 7th is PK, 8th Berger, 9th Patrese, 10th is Suzuki, still leading his teammate Eric Bernard, 12th is Donnelly, 13th is Alliot, 14th Nakajima, 15th Alboreto, 16th De Cesaris, 17th Warwick, 18th Modena, 19th it's Nicola Larini. 21 cars still running. David Brabham in 21st place, bringing up the rear, and there's an incident.
Yes, that's De Cesaris having a little adventure into the tower. Well, I suspect Bush. No, he managed to avoid it, but he's doing a bit of rally crossing in his Dallara Ford. It wasn't designed with that in mind. He could come in and raise the suspension, of course, and be more successful. Ayrton, Senna,
Berger that was, I think.
Berger, yes.
Yeah, Gerhard Berger chasing after 7th spot.
This is a problem time for Capelli now. He's got 3 slower cars ahead of him. They're not going to be easy to pass. Prost is going to be able to use that very much, I would say, to his advantage.
Prost on his second set of tyres, Capelli still on his first set, as is Gugelmin. Coming up to 3/4 distance, and I doubt if they're going to make a pit stop with those Leighton houses. John, have you got a view on that? Do you think they may have to come in for fresh rubber?
They may want to, but I think they'll stay out there because they could never ever make up the ground they would lose at this point in the race by making a pit stop. So I would say they've had the glory, well, they still have the glory, they're still leading the race. Stick in there, just hang in and stay there till the end, because there's no knowing what might happen. Alain Prost may have a mechanical problem, and you can find Capelli, should Prost pass him before the end of the race, back in the lead. It's one of those situations, I would say, just stay out there. But this is a problem for Capelli. He's now behind one of the losers, Mark Donnelly. He's got to get past Almas, and Donnelly's car is able to accelerate slightly faster than Capelli's jet engine Leighton House.
And the lead now down to 2.5 seconds. It's actually 2.489 seconds between Capelli and Prost. Prost closing now on Capelli. Nannini has just sneaked past Gugelmin into 3rd place. Gugelmin is now 4th. Prost looking in good shape to make it 3 French Grand Prix in a row. The man who has been so superb at this circuit continues to charge after Capelli. There's Ayrton Senna, currently in 5th spot. He's 3 seconds behind Gugelmin. These points, of course, are vital to Leighton House because of the pre-qualifying situation. They've had no points for almost a year. This would help their cause tremendously. There is Senna.
And of course, those points going to Leighton House would be absolutely disastrous to the Ligier team. Out there's one of the Leighton Houses stopped.
Oh dear.
That looks like Capelli's. What a great shame. Gugelmin. Yes, can't see the crash zone. What a shame for Mauricio Gugelmin. In fact, he's already out of the car. So it is Capelli still leading from Prost. The gap now 1.5 seconds. There is Mauricio Gugelmin, and he's been hard at work, you can see that. Capelli, Prost, Nannini, Senna up to 4th spot. Mansell is promoted to 5th, Piquet to 6th, Berger to 7th, Patrese to 8th. And the car goes past here, sounding very rough indeed. This race now 3/4 of the way through. There is Senna. Retirement so far, there you see them. Boutsen, Pirro, Cafe, John Lazy. Martini, we hear, had electrical problems. Gugelmin has just stopped. And Prost right on his tail. Prost waiting to pounce. Sliding inside, Larini and Elige. Both get through cleanly, but now, of course, Prost right on Capelli's gearbox, and he's going to have a reasonably good drag down the straight. A lot of pressure now on Ivan Capelli from Alain Prost. Yes, Capelli still leads just. And Mansell has gone into the pits. Nigel Mansell has just made a pit stop, and there he is coming out again. So that's his second set of tyres, third set of tyres now. What's happening at the front? The director still staying on Ayrton Senna. What about that battle at the front? Capelli holding off Alain Prost. Please show us, please! Going for a coffee break. Capelli's managed to marginally increase his gap on Alain Prost in that lap, maybe about 10-15 feet. The momentum Prost has catching up to Capelli, he's not been able to follow up upon. Running half a second behind Capelli at the minute. Maybe Prost is just taking this opportunity to catch his breath and build up to a final thrust to take him up to and beyond Capelli in the late house. Well, he's got 19 laps to do it. Nannini third, Senna fourth. I think the thick car we can hear is actually the Cesarin. I'll have to go across that bit of ground. I'm not surprised it sounds more than entitled to do that. Possibly a broken exhaust pipe, that sort of noise. So Capelli still leads, Alain Prost is attacking.
Fino a questo momento 1.08.373 al 62esimo giro ha portato il suo vantaggio nei confronti di Prost a 1 secondo 0.37, terzo Nannini a 8.5 da Prost, quarto Senna a 2.4 da Nannini. Vedete citato il giro veloce di Capelli a 200 e 753 all'ora. Dietro a Senna, quinto Piquet, sesto Berger, settimo Patrese, ottavo Mansell. Veramente eccezionale la corsa che sta facendo Ivan Capelli, tallonato da Prost che in questo giro ha perso 1/10 nei confronti dell'italiano, terzo Nannini a 9 secondi e 2, il distacco che vedete tra Capelli e Prost è quello del giro precedente, adesso è 1 e 156. Senna e a 2 secondi da Nannini.
You're back live here at Paul Ricard. There is the AGS in problems. You want to know if Capelli is still leading? He is. There he is. Capelli 1.1 seconds ahead of Alain Prost, but it looks a little closer. Capelli, Prost, Nannini, Senna is 4th, PK 5th, Berger 6th, Patrese 7th, Mansell languishing down in 8th spot, must have problems. Suzuki is 9th, and there we are, in fact, in the 10th place car of Eric Bernard. In fact, Bernard has just been lapped by the flying Capelli. Still he leads. This is the 65th lap, 15 laps to go. There is Alain Prost chasing. The gap now down to 0.6 of a second. Is Prost going to make a challenge on the next lap? Capelli, the former Formula 3 European champion, the former Formula 3000 champion. Capelli leads. He has only led one Grand Prix before. That was Japan a couple of years ago, and he led it for literally a corner, or a couple of corners. This time he has led the race for over 20 laps now. Capelli, Prost, Nannini. Yes, Capelli actually took the lead on lap 33, and he has held on to it. Remember, he has not made a stop for fresh tyres. Mansell has made 2 stops. Prost has made 1 stop. Most of the rest have made 1 stop. And the gap, 0.8 of a second between Capelli and Prost. Nannini still 3rd. Well, who said a V8 couldn't win Grand Prix these days?
Well, when we said V8 didn't win, we might have expected the new Ford engine to be the V8 that did the winning. I think not many people gave the Judd V8 very much consideration, and especially in the Leighton House car. I think there's going to be a lot of people after this race banging on John Judd's door.
Well, one team that won't be banging on his door, of course, is Leighton House, because they have a new engine being designed by Ilmore. That's the outfit in England which I believe Roger Penske has an interest in, and they've designed that very successful Chevy Indy engine, and now they've moved on to a Formula 1 engine which they're designing for Leighton House. But with this sort of performance, I suspect that there will be teams wanting to get hold of these Judd engines, this narrow-angled Judd engine. I did hear a little rumour that there was some Japanese influence in that engine. In fact, the same man who was involved with the Honda 1.5 litre turbocharged engine. And I don't know, it'd be interesting to get that confirmed, but I know that is not to put down John Judd's effort. It's a fantastic effort to design and build these engines, and this car with the Judd motor still leads, but Alain Prost is challenging again.
Yes, Prost now right on Capelli's gearbox. But yet again, in this corner, he has to back off. He can't maintain the closeness to the gearbox of Capelli's march. But look at him. Much, much quicker into the corner. Potentially much quicker all the way through the corner, but there is no room there to get around another car. So all those efforts on Alain Prost, really to no avail whatsoever. What he may try to do is just pressure Capelli, make him use his mirrors, make him actually begin to drive looking in his mirrors rather than looking forward. But so far that ploy not working, and Capelli maintaining his lead.
Martin Donnelly was a quick pit visitor, but he's still running in 14th place, taking on another set of tyres. Capelli on lap 68 leads Prost by 0.6 of a second according to our monitor. It looks much closer there. Capelli, Prost, 3rd is Nannini. Senna is 4th. Well, what can Prost do about this Italian? The man from Milan, holding off Prost. Can he get by, John?
He's tried a lot. Potentially he ought to get by. Now I think he's again dropping back that little bit to give himself a chance to catch his breath, to build up that momentum. And it is the momentum that you build up during these laps that can take you up to a car and carry you past. Once you get caught behind somebody, and if you get too close particularly, you lose the momentum. So it sometimes pays to drop back maybe up to a second, then prepare and start that charge forward again, and hopefully you time it in such a way that you take advantage of the car you want to pass and the weakest part of the lap for that other car.
There's good battle going on down in 7th place. Patrese holding off Mansell. Gap now shown as 0.9 of a second here on the monitor. Going into the last 10 laps. This is currently lap number 69.
Again, a moment of stress coming up for Capelli. There are a couple of slower cars that are to be lapped. One of them is a Lola Lamborghini. The other is the Cesarus. He's got past the Cesarus now. Prost has got that task ahead of him. He's through safely. But still 2 cars ahead of Capelli, and these are the moments when really traffic can work to the advantage of Alain Prost. Mansell now back on the tail of Berger, who's on the tail of Patrese, who's on the tail of Berger. Mansell on a 3rd set of tyres. But likewise, not really seeming to have any advantage from those fresh tyres, Andrew.
No, seems to be very evenly matched. Of course, Gugelmin is now back in the pits. Do you think he will be able to tell the team anything about the condition of the tyres, just to ease their nerves a little bit?
Yes, he will, but of course the team will be talking to Capelli, and the true indicator of the situation is the stopwatch. They can judge Capelli's lap speed. He's just on a 1.9.2, Prost is on a 1.90, so there can't be too much wrong with Capelli's tyres. He can run at that speed at this point in the race. Again, using the traffic, Prost trying to slide through underneath Motorsport Brabham. Both get through cleanly now. Gola. Oh dear, no, that was unfortunate. Capelli having to back off. Losing time when he shouldn't really be thinking about it. He wants to be through. He would like to have been ahead of the Lola and put Prost in that situation, but now under acceleration down here. Let's see who's got the most power.
Yes, well, Suzuki moves over. Capelli goes through.
A real dogfight going on there. Mansell, Berger and Patrese. Capelli stretching his lead right at this stage. Prost getting very badly held up by Suzuki's Lola Lamborghini, and Capelli's almost got a 2-second lead again. That will not have impressed Alain Prost at all. I mean, look at the gap, you're talking almost 3 seconds. And that was all lost in that one little section of track between the pit straight and the main back straight.
Still this battle continues. Capelli versus Prost. Nannini is 3rd, Senna 4th, then it's Piquet. Tremendous battle here at the French Grand Prix at Paul Ricard. Capelli into the last 10 laps. Can he hold the lead? We'll be back to bring you the closing stages in just a moment.
7 decimi da Mansell, adesso 7. 71esimo giro, Capelli ha un vantaggio di 2 secondi e 7 nei confronti di Prost. 7 Palazzoli, tutti dovuti a dei doppiaggi difficili o forse c'è qualche altro problema?
No, è dipeso dai doppiaggi. Io penso che altri problemi non ci siano. Vedremo subito, io anzi penso che Prost in questo giro farà uno dei suoi giri migliori. Sta tirando alla morte, non vuole lasciarselo scappare. Oltretutto deve spicciarsi perché di giri ne mancano veramente pochi. Certo che Capelli sta facendo una gara incredibile, magnifica, e sono contentissimo perché ormai molti si erano dimenticato di questo ragazzo che invece è modesto, simpatico, guida molto bene. Certo, i nostri cuori sono un po' divisi.
71esimo giro concluso, Capelli sempre al comando, 2 secondi 2 di vantaggio. Prost gira 1.8.212, che è il suo miglior tempo contro l'1.8.012 di
You're back with a scintillating struggle in the south of France. Capelli is still the leader. He has lengthened the gap to 2.1 seconds over Alain Prost. Nannini is 4 seconds behind Prost. Senna is another 4 seconds behind Nannini. Look at the leaders we've had. The first 27 laps were led by Gerhard Berger. Senna then led lap 28, 29 and 30. Mansell led on lap 31, Patrese on lap 32, and then it was Capelli from lap 33, and he is still in the lead. John, your comment.
The 2-second lead that Capelli has in Alain Prost was the result of Prost getting very badly held up in traffic. Capelli got through cleanly, took advantage, opened up a 2.7-second gap, but that is now down to 2.1, and by the time they come past the start-finish line in this lap, as somebody blows up, just coming out of scene, that will put oil down, and that is a Ferrari. It is Nigel Mansell. Major problem for Mansell. Yes, the left-hand bank of the Ferrari is spewing smoke. He pulls off onto the gravel. Nigel Mansell's race finished for this French Grand Prix. Major hemorrhage somewhere. They might say it was an oil leak, but what they mean is there's about a 3-foot gap on the side of the engine. But Prost now 1.6 seconds behind Capelli, making up the time he lost in traffic. Here we see Mansell again, the engine blowing up. That's going to put a lot of oil down on the exit of that very fast-in corner. I hope the marshals get the oil flags out. And Riccardo Patrese locking up right front wheel coming into the corner just at the end of the pit straight.
Two Lotuses running together. Warwick and Donnelly in 11th and 12th spots. Sorry, 13th and 14th spots.
And now Alain Prost within half a second of Capelli as they come across the line. 0.646.
The final 5 laps. Can Prost do it? Or will Capelli manage to hold him off? Capelli, they need nerve to steer on these closing 5 laps. The helicopter hovers above. Now the gap is 0.6 of a second.
And again, Capelli has traffic ahead of him. He got the advantage in the last little bit of traffic. He's gone through the inside, Prost through as well. Well observed. So these two can continue uninhibited in this battle. The closing stages of the 1990 French Grand Prix. Ivan Capelli, and remember, he has not stopped for tyres. Alain Prost did stop just before half distance, had fresh tyres, but Ivan Capelli is on the tyres. He started the race, and that, I think, is the most amazing feature of Capelli's drive in this race.
Yeah, 6 seconds between Prost and third place Nannini, and Prost continues the attack. But Capelli certainly seems to have his measure at the moment. Capelli, Prost, Nannini, Senna, Piquet and Berger. After 75, they are now working on the 76th lap. Under the bridge, down that long straight, up to 195 miles an hour. Crank it in right without lifting off the throttle. Tremendous G-forces as they enter the corner, tugging their heads sideways.
Prost quick off the corner that time, much quicker than he'd been previously, going very, very wide. Not able to use, having a look up the inside. Oh my goodness. Prost really is giving us a wonderful exhibition. He's got 3 laps left in which he can make an attempt to get past, but see how much quicker he came up on Capelli that lap. Had to go the long way round to avoid running into the back of Capelli's car, then dived right under Capelli, but Capelli had the line, is far enough ahead, shut the door on Prost off the throttle, hard on the brakes, dropping back another couple of tenths.
Well, I think we may be seeing history in the making here, John. If I'm not mistaken, if Capelli wins, he will be the first ever driver to wear glasses to win a Grand Prix.
Or contact lenses in the case.
Same thing. Don't argue with me. Senna now shown third. There is Ayrton Senna. It looks as if Senna has moved up. Capelli, Prost, Senna.
I think we saw Nannini's car possibly just to the right of the straight, just the camera's too far down the straight. I think there's a Benetton Ford stopped on the straight, and that would indicate, confirm that Ayrton Senna now has moved into third spot, but he is 10 seconds behind Alain Prost. Much too much time for Senna to try and take Prost's slot.
That means that Patrese moves up to 6th place. Capelli, Prost, Senna, Piquet, Berger, Patrese. This is lap number 77 of the 80. Well, most unfortunate there for the Benetton team. So close to the finish. David Brabham's still going. He's currently in 17th spot. That's the same engine as the car that is leading the race. But obviously, work needed on that chassis. He is, of course, running different tyres also. Prost very close.
Yes, he's having another rush up to the back of Capelli. Again, staying as close as he dare. Look at the speed off the corner. Now he's going down the inside. Prost has taken the lead. Finally, 2 laps to go. Alain Prost has passed Ivan Capelli. He was just so much quicker through the corner, and especially off the corner. The acceleration off the corner gave him the opportunity to pass Capelli. Now Alain Prost, all he has to do, look at the speed of the car. There's about almost 10 miles an hour difference in that part of the circuit. Prost has done what he did to Ayrton Senna last year, repeated the medicine to Ivan Capelli this year, but does not take anything whatsoever away from the performance of Capelli from the Judd engine, the Leighton House. It's been absolutely superb, and he has been the star of the race.
Well, that was the true experience of Prost. Look at the fans, they love it. They go absolutely wild, and Prost had rehearsed that. This is lap number 79 now. A lap and a half left of an absolutely sensational French Grand Prix. We've seen several leaders. There's the Ferrari pit. Is Prost going to make it 2 in a row? Is this going to be Ferrari's victory number 100? It's certainly looking that way. There is Prost already pulling away from Capelli. Prost it is. Where's Capelli? The Ferrari flags wave. There's Capelli. Capelli is lying in 2nd place. He's going to have to settle for that. It's Alain Prost leading. Prost, he left his challenge late, but Prost is in the lead. Prost leads here at Ricard in his home circuit. Prost heading for the French hat-trick. He crosses the line. The official raises his hand. 1 lap to go. Alain knows that so well. Just over 2 miles between him and the checkered flag. Capelli, what thoughts are running through his head now? It will still be the greatest success of his career to finish 2nd. He led the race from lap number 33 all the way through to lap 78. He'll just be hoping and praying that the Judd engine holds together now. Prost, Capelli, Senna, that is the top 3 here at Paul Ricard. You've seen it live from the starting light to the checkered flag, which is coming up in just 30-40 seconds time now. Prost, the confidence and arrogance of the man who has won more Grand Prix than anyone else in history. Alain Prost heading towards the flag for Ferrari. Ferrari scoring their 2nd successive victory. We saw them win in Mexico. Now we see Alain Prost win the French Grand Prix. His 3rd successive win. Victory number 100 for Ferrari. Alain Prost wins. What about Capelli? Capelli finishes 2nd. He's delighted. He's almost caught by Senna. He pulls off. But it's definitely 2nd to Capelli. It's 3rd to Ayrton Senna. Senna putting in a very quick lap. Capelli presumably in problems. There is Prost, the points. Senna 35, Prost 32, Berger 25, Piquet 15, Mansell 13, Alain 13. Prost, Capelli, Senna. The 4th man has yet to come to the line. What a race, John. Just to say quickly, Piquet now finishes 4th. Berger is in 5th spot. Well, we're going for a break. After that sensational victory there by Alain Prost, the flags wave, the Ferrari flags, the oil flags, every flag is waving. We'll be back to see the closing ceremony in